Richmond fans, welcome back. Hope you're all doing well. Tonight's video, just another mini training update, just in line with the video, the sounds of the track that the club put out, which tied into a little bit of a mini report that Caesar from Punt Road End put out as well. So a shout out to not only the Richmond social media team for putting out some good content this week, but also Caesar again for his wonderful insights. So from Caesar on Punt Road End, this is based off the Wednesday session, so Wednesday the 22nd. That Caesar reckons it was quite different to any Wednesday light session he had seen this pre-season. It was all about footy education, all over the park. Drills were stopped, points were made, whistles were blown, coaches grabbing players left, right and centre, and it just seemed very educational themed, which really actually ties into the interview that Sam Lawler did tonight while at AFL headquarters doing their induction, where he had mentioned that now they're kind of really getting stuck into the education part, which is probably the part that he's not found, well, I suppose he's found the hardest, I guess. He's done the physical stuff really well. But obviously breaking down a football game at AFL level is far different and far more intrinsic than what it is at like junior level or coach league level. So that's good to hear that that's where our young kids, and it'll be the same for all clubs, but good to hear that's where they're at with the educational piece. And it just seems like that once they unlock that educational piece, assuming the body's fit and firing and they're ticking all the boxes there, that's probably the main piece of the puzzle that you would want them to understand at a base level, I guess, before letting them play on the big stage. So I think they know the work ahead of them. And Sammy Lawler's obviously eyeing off a round one debut based on his interview today, which would be amazing. But yeah, good to see that it's all educational based now. Caesar mentions that it appears that pretty much all the draftees are past the simple basic phase of training and are now ramping up the game style, doing all the match simulations and all the structured stuff and everything that all the main players are doing, which is really good. What was interesting about Caesar's notes about this educational training session that he witnessed was he made mention that vocal coaches on the ground today were Lynch with the forwards, Taranto with the mids, and Brody with the defenders. You can't help but feel that that's a bit of a small glimpse into maybe what our captaincy and leadership group looks like for 2025. I don't know. I'm just kind of guessing. And I'm not saying that Nank wasn't doing any leading or anything like that, but it was just interesting that they were the players of note who were really commanding and taking charge. We've obviously put out a video previously about some captaincy options, and those three names were all mentioned, with Taranto probably the overwhelming favourite if Nankervis was to relinquish it. So yeah, very interesting and good to see though. Like I've said before, these older players have got to recognise their roles at the club have changed now. They're now teachers and educators to all these youngsters coming through to set them up for a long and hopefully very good career at the Richmond Football Club. So that was that part on the Wednesday. The club obviously also released the Sounds on the Track video as well, which was awesome. So make sure you head to the club website and check that out, which is a really good training video. I think one of the players that probably stood out to me on that video was Jack Ross. He seemed to be in everything from a midfield perspective, and I think a lot of us have known that he's probably more a genuine midfielder than a winger, and it was really disappointing that he was missing a lot of games last year due to injury. But it looks like that he's fitting in really nicely into whatever that midfield rotation is going to look like. I just can't work out in my own mind if he's going to be someone that's a starting midfielder. Is he starting on the bench then moving into the midfield? What's his secondary position if he's not in the midfield? So a few questions, I suppose, that I have, but he's looking impressive. The one thing with Jack Ross, he always seems to have a lot more time with the ball, and it's not because he's super quick, but I think it's because he actually runs smart. He runs to a lot of the smart spots and gets himself in a good position early. So it's a really good habit to have for him. And I think with some good consistent football, we could see another very good year from Jack Ross. And the one thing that you'll always notice with him in pre-season in particular, that he is always doing an absolute mountain of extra work before anyone starts back up, whether that's with his own fitness crew or whether that's at the club. He is doing everything he can to get the best out of himself. And with the effort he's putting in, I think he's going to get reward in some way, shape or form. So good to see Jack Ross in there, but it actually causes me more headaches trying to work out what our midfield looks like. So I'd hate to think what the coaches are doing. It's a weird situation, isn't it? Like we finished last, but yet here we are with some potential headaches of a good variety of who might play in the midfield if everyone's fit and available. It's interesting. The other player that stood out really nicely in that video that the club posted, and I've been red hot on this guy from the moment we drafted him, just from watching his highlights, is Jasper Alger. And I've said this before, I still think he's a very, very smoky, rough chance for a very early debut. And I know he's probably almost the youngest player in the AFL with when his birthday is, but he just looks seriously impressive when he gets near the ball. I'm not sure what he's like with the stuff he does off the ball, but his groundwork is really clean, disposal clean, quick. His size looks okay. Like I wouldn't say he looks undersized from all the videos and the photos that we've seen. And I think it might have even been Caesar on a previous training report had mentioned that he can't see or work out how Alger can't not make it. That's how impressive that he's been on the track. And I think a few people are starting to catch on to the Jasper Alger hype train. I was on him first, so I'm going to claim him. But no, seriously, I really hope he gets a game. And as a small forward, it's probably a spot we do have a bit of flex with, because Mansell's obviously going to do a job there. Morris Rioli Jr. is the other one who's going to do a job there, but I'm not too sure how his training progression is. He seems to be recovered from the little calf niggle that he had doing all the main stuff. You're not hearing too many reports of him shooting lights out, so I'm not sure if he's still being eased into it or not. So maybe there is a spot there for him to have a dip at. So Jasper Alger, watch this space, I reckon, folks. He could be a smoky for round 1 or round 2 or 3. I reckon it'll be either way very early. The other one as well, Samson Ryan seemed to be doing some good things in the drills too, getting very involved with the play, the link-up play between the arcs and some ruck contests too. Sonzi was getting a bit of the ball in that footage as well, which was nice to see. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what these 2 practice matches bring as well. We've obviously got West Coast in a couple of weeks, and then Collingwood the week after. The third video which dropped today from the football club was the Raw Cardinia with Seth Campbell, who was mic'd up for the training session out at Beaconsfield, which was an open training session that was held on Wednesday as well, I think it was. No, that was on Tuesday. That was on Tuesday the 21st. And the video, I encourage you all to go and watch it. It's on the club's website, the Raw Cardinia with Seth Campbell. Even just the car ride up, it was he and Jasper Alger, ironically, in the car ride, and just the conversations they were having. I thought it was really interesting, and Campbell, Seth, and Jasper sound like great people, and it was just interesting to hear their thoughts on different things. And I think the one thing that I always take away from those open sessions, and I'm sure all clubs are the same, but I'm always really proud and happy with how well the players interact with the kids that are there, because as they know, they are idolised and role models for a lot of these kids. So to see the interactions that Seth was having with the kids, he was doing backflips for them, telling them he's going to buy kids ice cream if they kick a goal and things like that. It was just really, really nice to see. And not only him, but other players as well. I think Dion Prestia made a bit of a joke at Seth Campbell's expense that he looks like Sid from Toy Story. So it was just good to see a mix of the old and the young players getting really involved at that level. And I'm spewing I couldn't make it, but if you did go to that, please let me know in the comments below how it was and if the kids clinic was what you had hoped it was, because it looked really good. And like I said, it's always nice to see the players getting involved at that level with the younger supporters. So that is it for tonight's video. I hope you enjoy. And if you do like the Richmond content, make sure you like and subscribe for more. I'm going to do another player video shortly. I might target Jasper Alger. I want to revisit him because I'm pumped about him, as you heard earlier. So keep an eye out for that. But until then, I'll catch you for the next video. Go Tigers.